All right, so in this video right here, I'm going to discuss one of my most influential, I'm going to say inkers, mostly his inks, but he's a great artist as well, Richard Bennett. And I don't know much about Richard Bennett. I just know that I have a lot of his books. So I'm going to show you, I never met him in person. Of all, it's probably one of the, I would have picked his brain. It's probably a good thing I have not. So yeah, here, I'm going to go and flip this. This is a short stack. I grabbed these out of some reference, my reference, several reference boxes I have. I got short boxes under my desk full of stuff. These are all books that Richard Bennett either supplied finishes, or he did pencils and inks, or he just did traditional inks. I feel like the stuff, you're going to see it here, I feel like the stuff he did on Jim Lee specifically feels more like a finish artist. Maybe got some rough layouts, I'm not really sure. Or he's just a really good hijacker, which is kind of my approach as well. So anyways, yeah, I completely forgot about this. Dwayne Turner, very interesting cover here, Wolverine 76. Lady Deathstrike here, Wolverine, penciled by Dwayne Turner, who shortly after this went to work for Todd McFarlane on Curse of the Spawn. He got the inker hookup over there too. Danny Mickey. That was Danny Mickey's first solo project with Todd before becoming a regular inker on Spawn, I believe. So, yeah, this thing's just gold. Just everything about. I've stolen so much from this cat. Like all the stuff that he does in here, the broken lines, the whiteout. A lot of this is very common, for most inkers, especially today. But when he was doing this, I feel like a lot of artists were more focused on conforming, to industry standard of, the cross hatching methods and a lot of the fades and all this and that. And I just feel like Richard Bennett, he came from a different place. I'm pretty sure he was doing work for Neil Adams, like way before adopting this style of inking, or his line approach, I should say. I'm gonna make a stack over here of all this crap. So yeah, for some reason I think I saw his name popping up in Megalith, whatever you call it. It was one of those continuity comics way back in the day when Neil Adams was publishing in the 80s. I just, for some reason, I remember seeing his name in a spinner rack, I think. But that stuff there, you kind of had to have that Neil Adams flair to it, or else you weren't working with him, basically. Unless you were Michael Golden, then do what you want, He's already established. So let's see. This is a Stormwatch 47. Jim Lee pencils, Richard Bennett inks. Basically a pinup book. A lot of these panels here, which are just pages. It's all splashes, all captions. But again, the gold in here is the rendering that Bennett brought to the table here. This specific book, I feel like Jim Lee probably did full-on pencils. Like it doesn't feel like like a half-ass work. Maybe something like this, like with all this repetitive line stuff. I'm not really sure that he was drawing tightly grouped lines at this point in time, like he does today. This feels more like something Jim would have drawn today versus 15 years ago when this thing came out, 10 years ago, 15. Again, man, so much stuff I've ripped. Yeah, stuff like this, like these really cool fades with the droops, it's all hack and slash inking, going back and forth, thickening lines, creating fades within the fades, all this stuff going on inside of here. So awesome. Yeah, really good grasp on like musculature, how to approach this. He has sort of a very specific thick to thin method on like outlines. Like you can see it in here, where he doesn't just go into a TP and then you know, bounce out of it right to another one. He will sometimes come in and add additional droops in the middle of the lines. You'll see more of that in the brass books that I show. This stuff here was probably just, you know, deadline based. That he needed to knock it out and get this book out. Definitely here some shortcutting going on with these heavy shadows, which just focus on some figures. So yeah, but yeah, it's him on Gem. He did get quite a few things, but things like this, like usually, especially during this, well, I'm not want to say this era, but around this time, most comic artists, you know, who was hot at the time of this, J. Scott Campbell, Travis Trey was still pretty hot, Adam Hughes. Essentially artists who don't render female faces, and then he kind of got away with it here. You know, his thin lines, a lot of hatching going on here, but just executes it really, really well. Yeah, it's just so good, so good. The figure work here, obviously, you know, Gem's work, but coming in this metal rendering and stuff, this doesn't feel like Gem's rendering to me. So I feel like there was a little bit of creative license taken on with this stuff here. Which I know, you know, Scott Williams has a hand in that as well. But yeah, there is something about Richard Bennett's approach here that makes me feel more like a fashion-forward version of like a John Byrne. You know, it feels more like old school Jim Lee because of his just his approach. You know, these outlines, a lot of variation in all these outlines. Makes the figures feel a little bit more dynamic. Like this does not feel like a Lee piece to me. So again, I think it's, you know, Richard Bennett taking some liberties. So yeah, there's that book there. A bunch of pinups. If you're interested in a book full of Jim Lee pinups, there's a Stormwatch 47. The fill-in issue, it was the crossover month. And then I think Larson redrew the book because he didn't want another artist to have a stamp in the history of Dragon. Savage Dragon number 13, Jim Lee pencils, Richard Bennett ink/finishes. I do feel like it's finishes because this stuff's insane. The amount of detail in here, I'm going to assume that he was already working on brass because the level of detail in this is just as crazy as what he was doing on brass. Everything from the detail in the background elements, everything was hit with lines. Everything had line art in it. That's one thing you can't say about this book is there are no shortcuts with not drawing backgrounds, with the exception of right here. You know, there really isn't much. But everything has stuff going on. The miniature figures and the backgrounds, everything is animated, everything is fully rendered and detailed. All the small characters that we all like to, you know, just silhouette and whatnot. But yeah, again, just like that last book, he has a very unique approach to the outlines and then the shading, even where he'll kind of switch stuff up and dart in directions they feel a little counterintuitive to me, like the cheekbone here, the way that he approached the cheekbone renders here, that does not feel like it's something Jim Lee put on paper. Very spherical, but it just works, you know, because of his thicks to thins and the way he intersects them. It just works. It works really well. Yeah, so this book here, obviously, and again, back to the metal, there you are. These fades that he does in all the metal might be hard to see because it's red color, but I still do these today. These fades that he throws in here, the originals to this book, I've never seen them in person, but they gotta be insane to look at. Let's see. Yeah, there's some more issue here. But yeah, I would say this was the best constructed issue, start to finish, of the crossover books for the Image X month, whatever it is that they call it. Every creator decided, that's I guess between amongst each other, who was going to draw whose book. Silvestri did Spawn 25. I have that one out quite a bit. Yeah, obviously Jim Lee did this. Who did Wildcats? Oh, Larson. Eric Larson did the Wildcats book. There was a bunch of other ones too, but this one here, and then I would say, because I am a Silvestri simp, Mark's issue was pretty good too for the Spawn book for a one-off. But yeah, everything in here, like I said, it's just insane. The tech work in here, this might have been another aspect, is there is quite a bit of tech and weaponry and things like this going on here, where because of how insane Bennett was working on the brass books, that maybe he just kind of gave, he's like, hey, do a little bit of that in this, this issue. Wildcats 19, super sick cover by Travis there. My favorite era of Travis here, up through, I think, Wildcats 6, and then I kind of stopped following a bit, but that era was pretty cool. Again, so this is nice here. Layouts, Jim Lee, finishes Bennett. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Basically, he knows what he's doing with the brush and the nib and the pins. Just let him have at it. Just give him the layout. Let him do his thing. Stay out of his way. Yeah, and all this stuff here. It's kind of difficult for me to show everything going on in here, but there is so much noodling in this book that you could look at this book for hours and just find new stuff that he did, and new, things with, like, even the fade of the table shadow dropping on his leg and the fades coming out of this stuff. It's the stuff that I think a lot of people just kind of overlook in comics in general. Yeah, it's just insanity. I don't have a single negative thing to say about this specific issue. This is probably a good example to show here, because there's not a lot of intersecting lines from the background, but you can see here where he has a little bit more of a bulbous cartoon, not cartoony, but just a thick to thin approach on his outlines that Scott wouldn't. Scott Williams would not do this. I feel like Scott would have done like a thin to a thick to the shoulder, and then just kind of intersect it with another thin coming out of the the neck. But he doesn't do that. He kind of breaks it up. He's got very, very super thin lines that kind of droop down into the shadow and stuff like that. And I just think that stuff's cool, because it's a little bit of like a more traditional, almost like a Marvel type approach, with the new school, the new school style. So yeah, this is such an awesome page. This page right here. Yeah, but anyways, we get through these. I still got a stack to go through here. Again, back to the metal. There you are. This metal rendering, to this day, this book's, it might be 20 years old. I'm not really sure the publication date on this. May, printed Canada. They don't have any indicia. I think it's in the back. Indica edition. Let's see here. This was printed, 95. So 1995. And this was the work that Richard Bennett was putting out. It's insane. I feel like I'm not even at this level of some of this stuff. Most of this stuff. Again, that's just, man, that shot right there is crazy. Tech. Everything is textured up. Everything is fully rendered. No vacuum cleaners as assault weapons. Here you go. Crazy good. Even this detonator, like, yeah, this is the insane shit that I think that, why he just kind of like set him loose. there was a time I was seeking this double pager out. I was like, if I ever find this, I'm going to buy the original. This is such a good double pager. And not the strongest background piece. I just like the figure work in it. I just think that they're all top notch. Like, they look so good. Followed up by, I forgot who was this, Terry Dodson backup story in there. All right. This one here. Yep. Another Lee. Crazy good cover. Richard Bennett, again, delivering over Jim Lee, making Jim Lee shine. Richard Bennett is the MVP in this scenario. I feel like, I'm not sure if he did this entire book. No, he didn't. Ignore that. I spilled ink, by the way, at some point. This is a beater copy. That's why these pages are like destroyed at the bottom. This feels like the colors are really flat. This issue to me feels like a layout book that maybe he was put under a tight deadline because of how open it is. He does not really go off on the tech and stuff in this issue, as he did, previously. This stuff here is pretty, a lot of open negative space, but he still, he throws some texture in. You got a Travis Filling page right here. Is pretty cool. But yeah, like do better, guys. Like, draw forklifts like this. Look at that. Like, Bennett he has a way about more Travis work here. It's hard for me just to like scroll over it because it's so good too. And you got Ladytron just going up this wall. Yeah, these pages, like, these almost feel like they could be throwaways, just kind of fillers, but his ink approach with and a lot of this the texturing, again, we'll go back to that, it saves them, makes them super interesting. Borrow who's that, Overkill from Todd. So Overkill making an appearance here. Such a cool splash. Really good grasp on all of his hatching, the thicks to thins. Obviously, he's a pro. These outlines are insanely good. There's a lot to be learned here from Rich on these, specifically on these pages. Yeah, the dynamics in here are, I mean, I can't really say much about the pencils because obviously Jim Lee knows what he's doing with the pencil. So there's that one. This one here, I think Bennett only did the cover inks on. Yeah, Matt Broom and Lee. It's not Jim. I think this Lee here, I think they were trying to bamboozle you. I'm pretty sure it was my old roommate, Pat Lee, who penciled this. But yeah, he did. He got the hookup, though. They gave him Richard Bennett to do the inks on his pages. So, like, who renders an eyebrow like that? That's crazy, right? But no, this is super fun to look at. Again, it's Richard Bennett flexing, showing what he can do with someone who works in a very detailed style. So there's that one. This cover piece right here, awesome, poster worthy. This is that Grifter She crossover book. Yeah, Travis Trey and then Lee, I think, split the art duty. I thought there was a third artist in here too. Okay, so here, I'm not even going to show the Travis pages because they're really good, but I'm going to get stuck on them. Okay, so Travis did the backside of this. This is the Wildstorm Grifter She #1. I don't remember issue 2. It might have some pages by Trey in it. I'm not completely sure. Basically, if the Image guys were not working on the other side's version of the crossover, I didn't pick it up. Kind of like the Batman Spawn. I picked up Todd's version. I didn't bother with the DC one. All right, so here's the pages here. So this is, again, Jim Lee with Richard Bennett inks / finishes. Insane detail, like absolutely given free reign on all of this stuff with all the shells, all the buckles, everything. All this stuff. The seams going through all these outfits, like that's not that's not Jim Lee. That's Bennett coming in and deciding that he's going to detail everything up. This guy getting decapitated looks awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. The helicopter looks badass. Yeah, it's like, you know, he was. I don't know what he's been up to. Hopefully, good things. I don't think I've picked up a Richard Bennett product or a comic since the Brass issues, so I'm not sure if he left comics, if he's still around. Hopefully he's in good health. If so, but yeah, comic stuff. This is stuff that I often will have open at my desk when I'm working on something, just for inspiration. You know, like seeing kind of the way maybe he does something with a hand or a. I keep going back to the outlines, but a lot of the creative approaches to outlines, where this could have very easily just been a dead line, like a very fast thing, and he decided to make it intricate and interesting. You know, the dynamics of even the outlines on skin, thicks to thins on the bridges of the noses, under the chins, and then instead of just blacking out underneath, coming in with repetitive patterns, which you can see there. I just seen something on this other page. Zipatone. He's not afraid. He's not scared. He's not scared of the zip. Use the Zipatone right there too. I'm assuming that's not stippling. If it is, it's a madman. Let's see. So I think that's it for this one. Yeah, and again, complete throwaway page right here. Like, this is a throwaway, but he makes it so nice. So nice. Like, the rendering here just makes you want to, like, this should be on somebody's wall. It's so good. Yeah. So there's that. And he's got this final page here. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Another Beater Reader copy. I think he did. I'm going to try to see here. Okay, this is why I got it out. So we got a Jim Lee and a Bennett inked cover. Captain America 7. I think this is the issue when Jim Lee was given the book from Marvel. I think Extreme Studios did up to issue 6, and then Wildstorm took over at number 7. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on the inside of this. I bought this originally, though, because of a double page splash right here by Travis Trey. This is insane. I've always loved this piece. And this right here made me want to do a black and white comic with some gray tones, just because of how good this piece is. But yeah, there's that. I think Scott Williams did it. Yes, Scott Williams penciled and inked a double pager here, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And it's nice to see. I see Scott's doing a lot of variant covers and things like that from Marvel as the full artist, the pencils and the ink. So, but yes, anyways, I think that's why I grabbed it. It's a Bennett with and this is I don't know what this is. It's a note that apparently is not that important, so I didn't remember it. Okay, so we got cover by Jim Lee, Scott Williams right here, Divine Right issue 11. I pulled this specifically because Deanda. Okay, so it's a tag team job. So it says Jim Lee and Carlos Deanda on the pencils. Finishes by Richard Bennett. Okay, so again, the real MVP, Richard Bennett. Not scared, not afraid to detail up female faces, and it looks good. He knows what works. It's all good. A lot of this whole thing is just detail hell for any inker not given free reign to do whatever. Yeah, just even this fade on the bottom of her chin, sick. Yeah, metal. Like, this is, maybe I might have a fascination with the way he does metal, and that's why I'm always wanting to have these books out. So yeah, again, his rendering and stuff just so good. You can't really tell as much now on the Deanda, because I think Deanda's stuff is a little more, I don't want to say cartoony in this. It's just a little more, you know, friendly to an average reader, I would say, who's not buying it for, you know, because Jim Lee drew it or whatever. But yeah, these pages here, I don't really have a lot to say. Very, very good approach to the textures on the rocks here. Yeah, nothing negative to say about any of this. Again, this is very, very cool. I love this Zipatone, and then he purposely runs it out. He creates almost a gutter, an overlay gutter of the Zipatone that runs beyond the line art here on the entire thing, and I like that. He definitely took a little bit of his approach to stuff from like, you know, like a Shiro Masamune or some manga. He's got some manga influence in there with his line approach, especially with background elements. Yeah, and then flexing a bit, you get to see some of this tech stuff going on here. I'm gonna assume that he came in and did all this because this stuff's insane. Yeah, all this tech stuff here is just madness. Madness. Having to draw sequentials and remember what that last panel had in it, you know. Really, really good use right here. That is Zipatone. There it is, about right there. Yeah, that's a Zipatone pattern. Light to dark this direction right there. He also used it on the cockpit glass right here. I really wish that would focus better. Yeah, and again, the coolest drawing of an underside wing that you will ever see right here. That's so cool. Inside the cockpit there as well. Like, yeah, this is just him. He's just showing off at this point. All right. Yes, we know you're good. Divine Intervention. I think it says Wildcats. I don't think this was Wildcats #1. I feel like this was. Okay, so yeah, it's a /. So this is, I think this was a 1 or a 2 shot. Divine Intervention / Wildcats. They have it listed as #1, but this is not a Wildcats #1. Cover 1999, Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Really nice. I like the void pose right there. Why did I pull this book? Oh, again, okay, here we go. So this time, full pencils by Deanda, inks by Richard Bennett. Okay, so we're appreciating what Richard Bennett does with a quill and a brush and Zipatone at this point. So yeah, all this stuff is super strong. Not a lot of room to flex, but there's a lot of repetitive stuff that he does here that I don't know whether or not Deanda put in there. But this is all like a deleter area that he purposely left open. It looks imperfect, so I don't think he brought white out through here to create these lines. I think this is just a controlled repetitive line that he came through and inked through this entire page's background. And then on the cape, he Zipatoned it out with different tones. This is not color. This is actually Zipatone that the color, you know, lies underneath of. So you got that. Let's see if there's any really nice examples of some other stuff. Yeah, for the most part, it looks like he just kind of stuck to the pencils, sizzled them up a little bit, but not a lot of, not what he would do over a Jim Lee, you know. Deanda probably wanted his style to shine through a bit more, you know, versus Richard Bennett just doing his thing. But yeah, like again, these outlines here, there's so much thought in like all of this, like this entire, just this one panel right here. It just has everything that he brings to the table. You got Zipatone, you got fix the fins, that panel specifically, I feel like it's just him flexing. Really, really cool textures right here. This is all ink texture going on through here. Repetitive lines. Not a lot of cross hatching, actually. This is just thicks to thins, a lot of TP work going on. A lot of broken lines, a lot of broken hatches. And again, I don't think he was doing that with whiteout. I think he was just aware, muscle memory, stopping and starting, and his dashes, and you see it here too in the belt right here. You can see it going on a lot right there with the thicks to thins, and it creates these cool, almost like grayscale. It leads your eye down the thing like this, right through here. Which basically this would be like a deleter line. If this was a Mignola drawing, this entire area here and this and everything down this deleter line back this direction would be black, and then the only side that would be visible is the side of the character facing this direction. So it's kind of what he's indicating here with the thicks to thins on specifically the belt. So fun book. These ones here, these are 2 one-shots. These are only 2 that I have. He might have done more. I'm not really sure. The anatomy in them, kind of wonky, but the inks in these is great. So I'll start with the Gen 13 Wired book. I don't even remember reading this. I bought this thing. I saw the cover, and immediately I was like, oh, that's Richard Bennett. Like, that's like unmistakably Richard Bennett, like inks, right? I was not 100%. His name's not on the cover besides his signature, so I didn't really know if it was him or not. But yeah, it's his line art and his inks throughout. It's just a one-off. It's a Rainmaker story. Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. So yeah, you get to see this entire book is just him flexing. I would say, if you really, really want to study, well, I'll get to that last. So anyways, we'll just look at this first. Again, some of the shading is just, a lot of it is overkill, but it's like, I'm also okay with it because it's, he pulls away from it. The rendering here underneath the shoulder coming into the chest is, he just has like crazy control, like the thicks to thins and, grouping of his lines and all that. It's a master. It's like insane. I really liked the cheek. It's so funny. I really like his approach to how he renders cheekbones and stuff like this. And this is actually where my own style is derived from. With it's like when you don't want to commit to a hard edged line, like a cheekbone that cuts in and then down. You can get away with these fades that indicate the light source, but you're not committing yourself to a hard-edged line that would essentially go here to here. It would just go, dark that way and then straight down. Yeah, you're not committing to it. You're just sort of indicating that, that's where the shadow is in a very cool, repetitive way. When you think of line groupings or crosshatch, it doesn't matter what it is. You're indicating gray, right? So, we're not really playing with grayscale. So what you're going to do is things like this. Like this is very much like a horror movie, like a motif where you would have maybe like the green, the secondary color, the green or the orange or the purple color would be filling all this area here, and then maybe a warm light coming from a doorway hitting him on this side, and then underneath it here, like this is the kind of lighting that you would see in like Nightmare on Elm Street, like Freddy Krueger or something. This is the kind of lighting that his face receives. But you can see here, he committed to the dark shaded areas, full on black, and then has all these little areas here where you get that nuance of gray, and he does it with just fades. There's just fades throughout, you know, and it's so cool to look at. And for these are actually pretty small figures on an original, and just crazy cool line control with the outlines and the inks of all that stuff. The tech on these are insane. This is a really cool shot. I really dig this shot a lot. You don't see this in comics often at all. Comic artists are afraid to draw the backsides of characters doing cool stuff for some reason. This here is really interesting. This is all Zipatone effect. So it looks to me like there were multiple sheets of Zipatone overlaid to create these darker areas. Like essentially it's one Zipatone layer that covers this entire face. And then a second, like you have to slice it. So a second set of Zipatone fading up that direction, another here, you know, here. And then he came in with whiteout, I believe. And then unless you scrape it away, you know, to me it looks like whiteout because it's very super controlled, and there's actually line art going on in here. So I'm gonna assume he was like pro white or something like that, and came in and did these, you know, the scarring going on this character's face. Yeah, so there's that. Let's see, very cool double page spread. The colors don't really do it justice, but I think in black and white, it looked really cool. That'd be really cool to see an artist edition. I don't think he's enough of a household name to do one, but definitely if they did one, I think people would be really surprised how good this stuff actually is. Thing is, sucks. Really, really good artist, but he's put on these books that they're kind of like in their latter stages, you know, like when you're already getting fill-in artists and people are kind of dropping off the book anyways. Yeah, such a good shot. The shading here is just badass. Look at that gun. See, we need more of that in comics. We need more of Richard Bennett. I'm gonna make Richard Bennett cool because he wasn't already cool, right? Look at this. Like these fades here. Like, this is not a lazy artist. This is someone that actually cares about what he's putting down on the page, you know? Shading here is like really nice, super nice. So yeah, there's that. I didn't show this one yet, right? No. Tales of the Witchblade. This one is probably his best colored project. Top Cow obviously did this. Yeah, I mean, Top Cow's all their colorists were, you know, basic. They put ownage on coloring. The entire studio did. Yeah, they were about 10 years ahead, I felt like, at all times with their the coloring, their palettes, their approach to coloring was just so good. And the styles are kind of lent itself to it. You know, Silvestri started opening up a bunch. You had, you know, Mike Turner, Billy Tan, Brandon Peterson leveling up with his artwork, you know, all those artists out there. So yeah, this is very cool. I can't even show this on the camera hardly. There's so much detail going on in this entire book. Again, Zipatone, letting some of the Zipatone do some of the gray work instead of just doing hatch lines on everything. You know, he saves it for the next page and the next page. Yeah, again, some of his anatomy to me feels funny. Like that hand looks, I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't sit right with me. But you know, again, it's like I forget all about it again because I'm like, look at the shade, look at the fades on these faces. It's so good. You know, you forget that you know that last page had something wonky in it. Very cool shot right here too. You know, they're all like kind of cockeye over here. Yeah, this stuff's just super neat. Some you don't see very often. Heavily cross-hatched female anatomy, but he gets away with it. You know, everything surrounding these characters is so heavily rendered that it's so, you know, it makes it okay. This is bizarre, but it looks cool. The way he drew it looks cool. This right here, so I'm gonna bring it back. This reminds me, I remember even looking at this thinking it felt very Neil-ish, like Neil Adams-ish to me. So, you know, I think this is a little bit of slipping through the continuity work that I was talking about at the beginning. Yeah, and these last pages here, they feel a little bit rushed. Like I'm assuming that, yeah, like not a lot of background work going on here. The figures are very open. A lot of usage of dark shadows and things like that. So it might have been a deadline issue. He was very, very slow. Took him, I believe, a couple of years to knock out 3 issues of Brass. So, which you can absolutely see the work in it. You know, it's just this. I think this was a monthly book. I think Tales of Witchblade was a monthly, and this is issue number 5. So, and it's the only one that he did, as far as I know. Silhouetted character. Yeah, he was at the end of his rope. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got 4 pages to knock out. I get these done right now. All right, Brass. Okay, so this right here is Richard Bennett's Nirvana. It's the top of the mountain for him. Here's an ash can I got years back. This came out way before the series did. I got number 1846 of 2000. It's a black and white preview edition. Half the size, you know, it's essentially half the size of a comic. You know, it's tiny. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half. So this is the full piece here, which they also used for the cover to issue 1. And then there was another piece he did similar to this. I believe it was pretty close, maybe the same pose. They used for a promotional poster, which I do not have, but is a very cool piece. So yeah, you get to see. What's funny about this is his rendering is so insane that most of it doesn't translate well, because this is shrunk down so much from an 11 by 17 that you can't appreciate all of the work that he put into these pages here. So this is like issue 1. I don't think it's the full book. I'll show you better because I have the large copy of it here. The folio edition of Brass, which is this one right here, this is almost an 11/17. This is a huge book here. They had it priced at $4.50. Which even at the time when this came out, this thing should have been a $10 book. It's humongous. Like if you compare the sizes of these two, I can't even get it to fit, right? So ash can edition right there. I'll show this last. All right, so you got Brass number 1. Again, if you're looking at inking or leveling up your inks and you draw in an inspired style by Top Cow or Wildstorm or Extreme, I highly recommend that you have a healthy supply of Richard Bennett comic books, just because he does so many cool things with his line weights and texturing, and even shading, you know. So yeah, like he's just very interesting. Like this is a very uncommon approach for shading for most image artists, like when this book came out, but he sells it because he's got all of every other check mark is checked. He's got all the other fades, the cross hatching, the open-ended hatching going out of fades, things like that every image artist was doing at the time. So yeah, I'm gonna scramble through these because I want you to see that oversized book. So this is issue 1. They did not make a folio edition of issue 2 or 3. The tech work in this is insane. Madness. There's no way this book, specifically this book, did not influence books like, you know, Weapon Zero, just to name one. There are several others, though. Tech-heavy books, you know, where people were just getting crazy with their designs. This one also has a wraparound cover. Pretty cool. Oh, I didn't show you that. So this is the full color version of this one. that's the full color wraparound there, fully inked, fully colored, but 100% Insanity. Yeah, just the line weights on this tech, just on that leg is insane. Like the thing, when he was doing this, no one else was doing that. They were inking in popular styles, like fashion forward styles. Like essentially everyone was doing Scott Williams. That's kind of the way I saw it at the time, because I was actually working, professionally, and I was just a penciler, and seeing what he was doing on this, I was seeing a lot of inkers at Extreme with with these books showing up mysteriously on their desk, for different aspects. Like, hey, make the water kind of look like this. Hey, make the metal look like this. Things like that. Boom, starts right off. Texture. Everything's a texture. Everything's metallic. It's glass. Highly detailed, highly rendered. Yeah, monsters. You got tech, biotech, weaponry, cool poses, character designs that will boggle the mind. This that's the best drawn corpse I've ever seen. That's so cool. It's so cool. But yeah, Richard Bennett definitely does not have a problem with repetitive lines. Even this kind of stuff here, this guy hunting deer, it's like so good. Yeah, and again, a lot of this stuff, if you're an artist and you're looking at, different approaches that maybe approaching your inks of your own work, I can't recommend this stuff enough. To me, it's a level up from the norm for this era of comics. So yeah, and then even this stuff right here, like this right here, like definitely feels like Otomo inspired, like the way Otomo would do sometimes, instead of a full silhouette with something brightly lit, this insane cross hatching in these areas. I think that stuff's hard to color, but it looks really, really good in black and white. Again, gears, panels, tech, glass, zipatone. You can't see it. This is dark here because there's a zipatone pattern running over top of him. Yeah, just insanity. All right, so this was issue 2. This is him getting infected by that fire, whatever that thing is that turns him into the brass character there. So there he is, ready to go. Insane double peak splash. Let's see, he's got one more page here. And then I think that's it for this issue. Yeah, that's it for that. And then the final one, book 3. Oh, it is a wraparound. I forgot. Yeah, he did wraparounds for the whole series. So you got this pilot getting fired upon. You see the reflection right there. All the missiles coming at him. And then this weirdness going on behind him here too. Get a little preview. Roxy and Grunge from Gen 13 making an appearance here on the first page. Looks like they're at a rave. You got this idiot over here. But they're all drawn really well. The whole scene's drawn really well. Crazy detail. The baddies rolling in, blowing up the city and shit. Yeah, this stuff's just, it's so good. All right, I'm going to blast through this. I've been on here for too long. All right. I was trying to make this a 15-minute video, and I'm pretty sure, oh, wow. Yeah, it's like an hour. Okay, so anyways, there's a cat, all right? If you like cats, there you are. All right. Black and white, folio edition. I can't even fit this on here. It's too big. This was an oversized edition of Brass #1 in its entirety, just in inks. with the lettering. Okay, so here's the cover. Here's a standard size comic to it, just for scale, right? It's about twice the size. Not quite an 11. I think it's an 11 by 14 or something like that. My copy, I've had this thing for 25 years or whatever. It's been a while. So here it is. The fully inked, all the pages fully inked minus color. I think this whole book should have been in black and white, to be honest. The rendering on all of this is insane. This double page splash is wicked as hell. So good. Yeah, it's just texture and texture. All this stuff was hidden in the color. All of this, the splatter, the whiteout effects, the rendering, the stop sign is fully rendered. You know, all this stuff is rendered. Every page, every panel is just work. The whole thing is worked. You've never seen a toilet drawn this good, okay? You've never seen a toilet drawn that well. All right. There's that face I showed earlier. Now, see the color. You can see here, like all of this, all of the elbow grease that he put into this, just this panel. You know, it's insane. All right. So, yeah, I think that's why, you know, I really do wish, though, that they had released. See, this is what I'm talking about, the wonkiness. Sometimes his anatomy gets, like, this looks like an Aeon Flux face to me, you know, like a Peter Chung / Eric Canetti type face. All right. So, yeah, there's that there. Bartender. Got this weirdo flashing on the subway. Yeah, and then here you can really see, okay, so you see like the design and all the elements going on here. But what he did here, maybe you can see it better. This is all zip-toned out. So the dark blue, the transit, the Metro Cop or whoever, he's got this zip-tone going over top of it. Didn't really overkill it, but you can see all of the, like, all the goodies in there in his lines. The dry brush work, the cross hatching, the folds, more cross hatching, the TPs. Everything is variation. His earlobe is rendered. Like, come on, get out of here. This guy getting shot up and going through a little bit of a hard boiled. This right here is like a little bit of a hard boiled moment. Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun. He did some stuff here too. Very, very much. This right here screams Jim Steranko to me. The repetitive, like, I don't even know what you call it, like the acid loopy lines, whatever. This right here, I think, was the piece I was thinking of. So this was used for a promotional poster way back in the day, and I used to have it. They used to give promotional posters. They used to give them away at comic shops all the time, stacks of them, because they really wanted you to, you know, purchase these books. And I mean, now it's probably $30 on eBay, because no, you know, everyone that had it threw it away, or it's, you know, it's in storage somewhere. But yeah, this yeah, very strange emote going on here. This the female cop's face, just, it's weird. It's weird, but you know, then he follows up with this crazy falling down to the ground scene off the ladder there. All these lab animals. Yeah, stuff's just so fun, so good. The variants right here on these line thicknesses really sell the stuff in the foreground versus the background. You know, don't see a lot of that now. You know, everyone trying to ink themselves. They think about the illustration, but they don't think about depth appeal and approach of the line weights. You know, and so that's one attractive feature that I think Richard Bennett shows in these books, that he was absolutely ahead of the curve. The rendering on this, you know, mechanical bug thing going on here, like, so good. the fingers here, the outline, like, yeah, can't say anything bad about this. I would never finish a book if I had rendered stuff this heavily. Here's another piece here. I don't know what this was for. Oh, so this was in the Wildstorm calendar 97. That's why. So this piece here of brass taking out this fighter jet. And I can't describe to you how much actual rendering is behind this piece. And I know that my lighting in this office does not do it justice, but it is what it is. Oh, and then the baddies. Do you even speak in barcode, bro? Speaking in barcode, yeah. I want to scan one of these. I've never scanned these, but I can guarantee you Trix, Cocoa Puffs, and Strawberry Pop-Tarts. All right. So yeah, they're speaking their own language. With no background, this is still, 10 times better than what I can do. You do get to see some of his pencil layouts. So these are actually layouts. This is not finished pencils. So this is how detailed his layouts were for pages, which in my opinion is insane. And also why it took him, 2.5, 3 years to do 3 books on this series. But yeah, this stuff's great. Double pager right there, the helicopters. And you can see, like, he does leave them a little bit open. Even on the faces here, he kind of indicates where he wants shadows to be, but not all the hatching. It's like the hatching, he treats his own work as if it's like finishes, I'm assuming. And then that cool back shot of Brass standing there. It's such a badass shot. And you get to see the characters, looking straight through the legs right there. So anyways, yeah, there's that one there. Again, if you ever find this, sometimes people sell them, they're mislabeled. It has to be the 450 cover edition. Sometimes they will write it's a folio edition, which it is not. It will be a 250 edition. So the price tag there is literally how you define, because they look identical. The cutoff is identical. There's nothing different about this book. Even the corner box is identical. It's just the price, right? So the 450, yeah. If you can find this and you're an inker, buy it. All right. And then also, here, I'm going to give you, I'll recommend you. I'll tell you what you should get. Folio edition. Don't necessarily need it though. But if you're really interested in the pure black and white, I would say get this one before you get this one, because this one prints so small. I would say this is a better substitute to seeing the actual line art versus the black and white Ashcan, because it has shrunk down so much in here and he had so much detail, it's completely lost. This Ashcan suffers the same problem that the Prophet number 5 Ashcan suffered, where the lines are so tiny and a lot of them just don't reproduce in the actual printed book. So let's see here. So I'm going to tell you, okay, Brass numbers 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Absolutely those. I'm going to say Gen13 Wired number 1. Okay. And none of this is bad. I'm just thinking as far as like what you can get from it as far as what he brought to the table. And I'll say these two. Wildcats 19, where he obviously hijacks Jim Lee's art in a good way, in all the best of ways. And then the Savage Dragon 13, which again, I feel that he hijacked it because Jim Lee doesn't draw all this stuff. Like, there's no way. This is Richard Bennett coming in and being an all-star, putting ownage, like his name should be up here, right? On these two specifically. So yeah, Brass 1, 2, 3, the folio edition of Brass number 1, and then Gen 13 Wired 1, Wildcats number 19. Okay. Wildcats number 19, and then Savage Dragon 13 by Gen13 Bennett. There is a Savage Dragon 13 with an Eric Larson cover. Don't buy that one. That's not the good one. Okay? All right, I'm going to end this broadcast. It's been an hour. All right, guys.